So everyone fell in love with the Evade Spiritborn, and there's going to be a lot of bugs involved with it. But first and foremost, we have to talk about new updates when it comes to the Evade Spiritborn itself. It is going to have the evade timing basically changed. Therefore, you are going to cast much less evades. The bug basically allowed you to cancel the cast animation way earlier than intended, and this was causing stability issues for a lot of other players, for example, at the world boss. This is obviously going to tremendously decrease the amount of ground you can cover per minute or per second, whatever metric you want to take here. And the thing is, they usually don't change any build during the season if it doesn't have to be done. In this case, it has to be done because it causes stability issues for other players. This means that the Evade Spiritborn is going to be a little bit slower, but they are not changing the damage, which is going to be very nice. I am extremely curious how the Evade is going to play afterwards when the cast rate basically has been dropped, because I'm a huge enjoyer of the Evade Spiritborn, and I really want this build to become a staple in Diablo 4, even if it's just for early leveling and speed farming up to like T3 or so, and if you then have to swap over, that's totally fine for me. But I like this speedy archetype for like the early to mid game quite a lot in D4. I hope it stays, but we can offset this. Don't lose hope. We are actually finding out stuff on the daily on the Spiritborn. If you want to see all of the development live and you don't want to wait for the video, I suggest you check out the Twitch link that is going to be down in the description below, where we discover all of this live, and you can be one of the first to already implement all of these new findings. If you take a look at the damage numbers right here, I'm currently hiding the crits. I'm just showing the normal numbers. As you can see right here, we have like 3-4 million, something around that. But what we actually found out is that your strongest aspect with unyielding hits that gives you 1.5k weapon damage, which basically triples your damage, is currently not working, which obviously makes the entire Evade Spiritborn even stronger if it starts working. Again, take a look at the numbers right here, 3 to 2 million. And this threw me off because the calculation showed much higher multipliers, and we are still only doing 3, 4, 5 million. It threw me off, but we actually found the fix. So what's currently not working is the storm feathers from the Eagle main Spirit Hall are currently not afflicted or affected by the unyielding hits. How do you change this? Very important here is go into the testing dummy and try this out for yourself, so you can actually see how big the difference is going to be for your character. Just hide all the crit numbers, for example, and then go and do the normal damage numbers only, so you can actually see how big of an impact this is. So what are you going to do? You are going to unequip your unyielding. You're going to change your gorilla to your spirit hall to something else. You equip your unyielding. You're going to run around, hit a little bit, and then now, after having at least one hit, you're going to go back to your Eagle Spirit Hall. And if you look at the numbers right now, you can actually see that they have more than almost tripled, because, well, I only have a 25% unyielding hits. If you had a 30, that would obviously be a little bit more damage, because I'm currently not at the armor cap required. But as you can see right here, this is an amazing damage boost for your character, basically bringing the build way higher up in terms of damage. We will then have to see how the evade fix is going to play into this, but very important here is, not only do you need to swap to maximum resolve stacking on your builds and some barrier generation, because the colossal glyph is going to make those resolve stacks a multiplier, and also the vicious shield gives you much more damage the more barriers you have, which also means that you need to run earthen bulwark barrier. But you are just going to be blasting every time you change this with the unyielding hits, basically triggering them and activating them. The only problem with this is you unfortunately need to do this every time you log into your character for the game to register that the unyielding hits are supposed to work with your storm feathers. Again, go into the training dummy area. There is a new one in Kura City. There is also one in Kyovashad right here, the training grounds they're called. And then actually check out how this is going to look like for your character. Furthermore, evade findings. We are currently trying to get rid of the Sepa Sontek. The Sepa Sontek is amazing as a starter for the evade build because it lets you trigger the third cast of a basic skill every time, therefore reducing the amount of cooldown that you need on your evade. As you can see right here, we are instantly reducing our evade cooldown by 5 seconds on every third attack, which with Sepa Sontek is every attack. But the downside of Sepa Sontek is that literally anything but the dex on the Sepa Sontek does not matter for the build. So anything you have on the Sepa Sontek is completely useless but the dexterity. So obviously changing to another two-handed weapon would be ideal. But then you have to somehow fix the issue of constantly replenishing your evade cooldowns. Currently, you can do that by going evade cooldown reduction on your boots and also evade cooldown reduction on your amulet. Therefore, you can get the cooldown lowered enough so that you can still spam it. Obviously, the fix that is coming up with the posting of Adam Fletcher on Twitter is also going to make it a little bit easier because you can only cast less evades. Therefore, it's kind of probably already enough to just have the evade cooldown reduction on the boots and the amulet, therefore making you permanently evade again and also freeing up the weapon slot. It's incredible if you can free up the weapon slot because not only do you get a 2x boosted aspect on the Sepa Sontek, which is going to be the redirected force, and then we also have another free slot for the amulet, but on top of that you can now use a weapon that has actual stats that the evade character, evade Spiritborn, profits off of. So not only are we going to include dexterity, obviously, but we are going to use max life, and we're also going to use either vulnerable damage or crit damage. We will have to see. It's probably going to be vulnerable damage because we're not crit capping the character. Therefore, vulnerable damage has more value. But that's not even all of it. We are currently not using any of the very powerful tempers that a two-handed weapon usually provides. So not only did we fix the damage through the unyielding fix that I just showed you during the video, but we're also getting a 2x boosted new aspect on the build, or rather a 1.5x boosted because we're going to put the redirected force on the weapon, and we're going to get tempers and actual useful stats on our weapon. So we're going to deal much more damage than before with the evade Spiritborn, and we're going to lose a little bit of zoom. If you are interested in seeing how all of this develops live, again, I suggest you check out the Twitch, linked down in the pinned comment and also in the description below. And if you like content similar to this, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.